Hey everyone, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. I'm on YouTube, and I am answering your questions. For any of you who are new to my channel, welcome. And what I do each Wednesday, every day of the week, Monday I release my regular video, Tuesdays I'm on Tumblr, Wednesdays I'm on YouTube, Thursdays I'm on Twitter, and Friday I'm on Facebook. Yes, that is it. And Wednesdays I kind of toggle and I work in the website as well. So, but today I'm on YouTube. And I have 3 questions, and I try to put them in an order that I felt like kind of flowed together. So the first question comes from one of my followers. And I never say anybody's names because I never know if they really want people to know. So this person said that she was sexually assaulted at the age of 14 and has had suicidal thoughts ever since. What are my treatment options? Now, this is a great question because I know a lot of people who aren't suffering from either substance abuse or eating disorders don't know what their options are for potential treatment if they wanted more than just outpatient. But my first advice, I guess, for this is outpatient treatment. And what I mean by that is seeing a therapist, or I'm going to group therapy or support groups. There are a bunch of support groups for people who fell victim to sexual abuse of any kind or sexual assault. And that can feel really good to just know that we're not alone, right? That's part of why our community is so amazing, because we all can realize that we're not alone in this, right? So that would be my first thing, is to look into support groups and to also look into seeing a therapist, someone like me in your area that if you're worried about financial stuff and how much it would cost, I would encourage you to go through your insurance company first to make sure that you don't have to pay out of pocket, and most likely then you only pay a copay, and it's usually anywhere between $10 to $30 each session. So that is what I would do. If you want more treatment, if going to a therapist once or twice a week and going to group once a week isn't enough and you feel like you really need to get a hold of that, because I know suicidal thoughts can be really overwhelming, and sometimes we actually are afraid that we will hurt ourselves. Going into an inpatient treatment is another great option, and they do exist. There's one really great treatment place out in Arizona called Sierra Tucson that I've sent clients to, and I've had clients come from who've struggled with depression, anxiety, self-harm, suicidal thoughts, and things like that. They have programs for that, as well as their programs for eating disorders and substance abuse. So know that you don't have to have those to get treatment. And I would Google in your area for treatment options like that, because I know many of us feel like we don't really know what to do. We don't know if we have any options, and Google's a great place to start. And from there, then I would contact your insurance company to make sure that it's covered. I know that's a lot of information, but look for a therapist and outpatient groups, and then look for inpatient programs in your area. And there are also suicide hotlines. So please, 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 if you're worried that something's going to happen and the thoughts are going to get too strong, please call the suicide hotline. And they will have great referrals as well for groups and things like that. So give them a call. And any of you who've done that and have had good experiences, could you please share so that those of us who are nervous to call a suicide hotline know that it's okay? Okay. Now the second question, how long do you think it should be before you stop seeing your therapist every week and start every other week, or just cutting back? Now this is kind of hard, and it's something that I kind of, I guess, play with is the best term with my clients. And by using the term play, I mean we will try to take 1 week off, and then we'll see how they feel when they come in. We'll talk about it, and was it really stressful? I'll give them an outlet and say, I will respond to 1 email this week if there's something that comes up. Don't feel like you can't, reach out to me. And I think everybody's different. I mean, I've seen clients for years every week. I think it depends on if you feel like going is benefiting you every time and you look forward to it and you can't wait to go, I would keep seeing them every week. But if you feel like, because sometimes even myself, for instance, I haven't seen my therapist in a couple weeks because I've been out of town, and I can honestly say that I haven't felt like I needed to. I don't really have anything to talk to her about. I am excited to catch up and let her know how the wedding went and stuff like that, but there's nothing pressing. So I think that would be what I would ask you to do for as far as that judgment for that goes. Is there something pressing, or is it more just the act of going? And I would talk this out with your therapist, and I would journal about it, maybe vlog if that's what you do, to vent about it and to talk about it. because we shouldn't have to see a therapist. That, to be honest, as a therapist, I know I've been successful when you go on your own. You're good and you go, and you know you can always call me and we can make other appointments, but you're good and you don't need to see me each week. And so I have a feeling that the person that asked this question, I have a feeling that that's what your therapist meant, that they want to see how you do. So it might be something you test the waters of and see how you feel, but there's no strict rule. I think it just depends on your level of need and what you feel like you're benefiting from each session. So I guess start thinking about it, okay? Now the last question, and this comes from my video, and I'm trying to catch up, and I apologize for any of you who've left comments and questions, but it's been about 3 weeks since I've really been online full time. And this was from my Asperger's and autism spectrum video that I did, I think 3 weeks ago. And this is a great question, and it's something that I think I just skipped over, and it left many of you confused. And the question, and this is kind of something I piled from a lot of the different comments I got, but is Asperger's a learning disability? I thought it was. And in my video, I say that it's not a learning disability, that we could be very high functioning with struggling with Asperger's. And people get them meshed and confused a lot, but Asperger's and learning disabilities are actually very different, because people who suffer from anything on the autism spectrum can actually, their cognitive functioning is very high. And I think that's the point I was trying to get across when I said we're high functioning. We can be if we get proper help and able to regulate our emotions, because one of the key components of things on the autism spectrum is struggling to manage our emotions and connect with people and things like that. We can feel very out of control. And learning disability, and you can kind of see now how they're just very different. Learning disability is something that affects our ability to learn new tasks. Now, the Asperger autism, that whole spectrum, is more around emotion regulation. And one of the things that definitely sets the Asperger and autism spectrum apart is that people who struggle on that spectrum tend to have a focus on something. Like, they will love, like, I used to do floor time therapy, and they had this little boy, and he loved trains, everything about trains. He knew more about trains at the age of 6 than anybody I've ever met. And they'll usually have a focus like that. And people with learning disabilities don't, that's not a component of it. And you can Google this if you want more information, if you want to read about what a learning disability is, and the definition of Asperger's or autism or spectrum disorders or whatever. But there is a discrepancy. They aren't linked. They're not the same diagnosis. They're actually very different, and there's very different testing that goes into getting those diagnoses. So I hope that kind of clears that up. I know it's very confusing, and I'm sorry that I brushed over it. Sometimes I forget, and I just brush through something without thinking that maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. So I hope that clears that up. If you have other questions, feel free to ask. Again, I'll be on YouTube every Wednesday and the website. And in the website, if you haven't checked out my website, go under my forums and you can check the Q&A portion. You can ask your questions there. And I'm trying to get caught up in everything, so be patient with me. I'm thinking of you all. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.